time or lack thereof time get in the way of what it is that you want to do with your life? Is this a thing for you? Are you always finding yourself saying like, I don't have time for that? Or you see somebody, it always makes me giggle. I see somebody that I haven't seen for like years. And I say, oh my gosh, how's it going? What have you been up to? Tell me about all the things. They're like, oh my God, I'm so busy. I just don't even know. It's like, you don't know how you're spending your time. What are you working towards? Do you feel like you're working towards survival? And like, that's how you're doing things? Okay. Regardless of how you look at your stay here on Earth, we can admit like it's a pretty short time, like in the grand scheme of eternity, 100 years that we get to live in these meat sticks is like not a long period of time, right? But you and I have the potential to make our lives whatever we want them to be. Like as humans, I can decide, like when I was 17, I decided I'm going to be a student apparently for the next 10 years again, right? And then it was like, oh, then I decided I wanted to work in a hospital. Then I decided I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Then I decided, right? Like I decided I could change hats whenever I want. Right? And now it's like I can wear multiple hats. I chose and said like I want to be a mom, or I want to wear this hat. Right? You choose. It's whatever you want it to be. You decide. Where you're at right now isn't where you're going to be forever. It's not even going to be where you think for the next however long till you get to retire. You retire from life. That means you've moved out. What we call dead. Okay? But we all get the same amount of time every day in order to move ourselves forward. We all get the same amount. Okay? This thing we call time, it is your absolute most precious commodity. It is the most precious thing that you possess. Right? And unless I'm like extremely tired, I even resent the time I have to spend unconsciously sleeping at night. Or I should say most nights. Those 8 hours that I have to hand over to Mother Nature so that this meat stick can survive, I'm like, dang it, come on. And I'm not suggesting, obviously, that you stay up all night, jeopardize your health. Please don't do that. But listen closely, because if you haven't yet figured this out, what I'm about to say will hopefully shock you into some more exciting things in your life. So the next time you see someone that you haven't seen for years, you're not going, oh my God, I'm so crazy busy. I don't even know. It's just, or you're not going, oh, same old, what's same old? What's that look like for you? The average person spends 4 hours each day in front of a TV screen. That adds up to 10 and a half years between the ages of 2 and 65. So you do you, there's no judgment, but you can't say I have no time and then be a part of that statistic. Because you add that to the same 21 years that the same average person spends sleeping, which is what 8 hours works out to over the course of your life, right? 21 years we spend sleeping. You will quickly realize that exactly 1/2 of the 63 years that I referred to is spent either totally unconscious or in front of a vacuum tube that we just zone in on. Like, really think about it. 31 and a half years either in front of a TV or sleeping. And this is not like a thing against TV, but come on, like that's craziness, right? If you even simply cut back to even just 2 hours a day of watching TV, you could add 30 24-hour days to your life each year. That's a lot of time. Do you imagine what you could do with that time? Might get yourself on purpose. You might start building something. You might like grow your mind. I assure you that watching too much TV or even being stuck in the scroll hole, like let's even pull out that statistic, isn't the way we want to be wasting our time. Yet it happens, right? If you want to accomplish something in this life, let's talk about what you can do to get a lot done in a shorter period of time. Okay? But first, let's get clear on what we're really talking about here. Because so many people ask me, what's time management look like for you? The term itself is so misleading because it implies that time can actually be managed. Like time management, it's such a word that we're constantly throwing out there. But it's the ability to control how you spend the hours of your day effectively to accomplish your goals. And I like that definition because it shows us that it's not time that we're managing, it's actually our activities. It also implies that you have a goal, not to get up, go to some workplace that you don't even love anymore, and then play chauffeur and then rinse and repeat. Sit down in front of the tube. It's not what it implies. It implies that you're moving yourself. You're moving yourself forward. That's what it implies. But it's the same for all of us. Because I'm sure you've either said it or you've heard somebody say like, oh, there's just not enough hours in the day. But usually this phrase is used by someone that doesn't know how to manage their day effectively. Because a lack of time is not the issue. It's about how we prioritize the 24 hours that we get each day. And when I am working with my clients and I'm helping them through what I call a time paradigm, if I hear any of those phrases that I've already dropped to you, 100% time paradigm. And you either choose to get out of it or you don't. Right? Some people can get more accomplished in one day than others accomplish in a month. But what's driving them is their goal. It's the place where their vision for their life. These are very success-oriented people. They want to go places. They know they have to manage the activities that they don't spend their time doing things that don't bring them joy. But it's a life-changing skill that anyone can learn. Like you can learn it. You can't just be like, oh, that's not for me. If you've identified already, you're like, oh, like that's me. I have a time paradigm or my time consciousness is low. You just have to decide to do something about it. And you just do it one day at a time. Like managing your activity starts with a clear goal that's mapped out. So if like you're going on a road trip, right? And you say, okay, if I want to get to this space by this time, then you work backwards and you say, okay, and it's going to take me 4 hours to get there. And I know I want to stop some places and whatever, then you work backwards and you know what time you're going to leave. You've come up with a plan. So where you're going is the goal. And then you've mapped it out. Like you've done this before. If you've ever flown somewhere, oh, okay, I need to be at the airport 2 hours before my flight. It's going to take this much time, and I want to take into account traffic, or if you have to cross a border or something. Like, you've done this, you've worked it back. Now, what would it look like if you did that for your day, but moving it in the direction, like only having things in your day that are going to get you where you want to go, and take out all the other noise? That means, though, if you're a yes man, I used to be a yes man all the time. I would say yes to everything, mostly because I didn't want to disappoint anybody. So I would just say yes to everything. I had to learn to say no. Because every time I said yes to something that didn't meet my goal, I was saying no to my goal. I'm like, dang it. Like, which one am I going to say no to? You that I don't even want to show up and do that? Like, it doesn't bring me joy, or my goal? Every night before you go to bed, I encourage you to do a review of what your next day is going to look like. So I actually have, before I like shut down even my work for the day, I have six things that I want to accomplish the next day. But it's not a list of chores where, like, I don't include my laundry, and I mean, I've got little kids, right? I'm doing laundry pretty much every day, but it's like, it's not any of that. Taking out the garbage and picking up feeding the dog, like, none of that's on there. Remember, this is about prioritizing your time each day. You want to make sure you get all your important tasks written down, completed, especially the tasks that will move you closer to your goal. Okay, so every night ask yourself, what is one thing, just even one thing, that I could do tomorrow to move toward the achievement of my goal? And write down your answer and make it a top priority for the next day. And even, I encourage you, take time to think about other additional goal-oriented activities that you can work into, whether it's the next day or the following day, and put them on your to-do list if you're a to-do list kind of person. Most people are, because we like to create order in our day. But start working on this list as soon as you wake up. Like, when you wake up, are you rolling over, grabbing your phone and getting stuck in the scroll hole for 15 minutes or whatever? I actually know people that they're like, oh, I set my alarm 15 minutes earlier so I have my social media time in the morning. I can just lay there and scroll. You need to understand, when you first wake up in the morning, this is when your subconscious mind is wide open, and it's primed and it's ready. It's ready to rock. You might think, oh, I need my coffee first. You don't. You have more energy and your pinky finger to light up your whole freaking house. What you don't need the coffee. What you need is a goal. What you need is something to move you forward. Because I bet if you were motivated to do whatever you spend most of your time doing during the day, you would be up, ready, there, like ready to rock. When you choose something like the scroll hole, that's automatically is like a clear indicator. I mean, and then it becomes habit, really, of where your motivation lies. But if you can go to sleep when your subconscious mind is put to rest. I mean, your subconscious mind is awake the whole time, by the way, when your body's put to rest. If you already know what's going on the next day and it's something that you're actually motivated by, that alarm will go off and you're going to be up out of bed. Some days you'll find yourself up and out of bed before the alarm even goes off because you'll be so freaking excited. And you just get doing and being the person that has your goal. You're working from the end. And while you're getting started with this, because it's a habit, right? Like, literally, if you have to use a pen and paper with a to-do list instead of like a phone or electronic device to like not get out of, we got to break away from rolling over and picking up our phones. honestly not a habit that's serving anybody. I don't care what line of work you're in. I don't care. My whole business is run from technology, and I get it, but honestly, it's not serving anybody. If you have to physically grab a pen and paper, do that. But keep your to-do list or your to-be list on paper, and you can check things off. I know my paradigm likes to just check things off. You'll be able to see all the things that you're completing over time. And you can look at your list getting longer as you become more skilled at activity management. But it's not something to be overwhelmed by. You get to be motivated by it. But to stay motivated and keep yourself on track, turn your goals into specific objectives. So let's take the road trip, for example. So if I'm going on a road trip, my objective is to get there by a certain time, safely. I might have I'm well fed and I'm well hydrated and I've stopped to use the restroom or whatever. I feel good. Maybe that's my objective. Right? But it's just how do you can have different objectives throughout the year. This is what people try to do with New Year's resolutions. By this time next year, I'm going to feel this way. And then they give up on it within 2 weeks. Break your goal down into mini goals. Right? So a lot of people set money goals. So if you want to earn an extra $1 million next year, your first quarter objective might be to earn an extra 100,000. Then you might aim to earn an extra 200,000 in the second, and 300,000 in the third, and 400,000 in the fourth. It's either way, you at least know what you're striving towards. But you get to enjoy a more fulfilling life that's not just time. Oh my God, time. Constant. That is like a stress on your nervous system that is not required. Yes, we only have a limited amount of time on this magnificent earth. But as you go through your days, don't get caught up in the things that everyone else wants you to do. Commit to doing things that are important to you. Spend time doing things that take care of your physical, mental, spiritual, financial health. If you do things in 2023 that are, I call them goal-achieved moves, goal-achieved activities, I can guarantee on this day, 2024, you're going to look back and your life's going to look totally different. Whereas if you choose not to, you're going to constantly be going, oh, where did the time go? Where did the time go? When you start to do things that you enjoy, this is when your life takes on a whole different meaning. And it gets to be fun and it gets to be easy. If you want to chat more about time paradigms, if you're like, oh, this is me, DM me. I got some tricks for you. Okay? Awesome. Have a great day, you guys.